watched that video Marlinsky posted, but it said they were going into.
I'm gonna go.
Yeah, it's a sham, dude. He's just like, oh, he grabs the door and it's locked.
Oh, I thought
There's a note. There's a note that says "fuck off." It's like so stupid.
All right, I'm going live.
Well, that's a waste.
Welcome to the GAWDcast. You know who we are.
Greatness and world domination.
You know what we're here to do.
Here to warp your skeevy little minds. What's up, dude? It's been a minute. We got T-Dog back on the show.
Yeah, I just said that. We just talked about this.
We were
Fuck
just
the
there?
recap.
Oh, all right. Sorry about that.
It exists as it happens.
I apologize.
Never go
Go
back in time.
ahead and bring that mic on in.
Never go back in time. But apparently that time, I seen a thing that said that time traveling guy that claims he's from 2030, they're like, his predictions are coming true. 2019 predictions are already happening.
Oh, no. The Ides of March, dude, coming up. What do you want to talk about, bro? Fake news?
Yeah.
You into that?
Yeah, dude.
Where do you start with that?
Oh,
Deep
boy.
into that.
Well,
there was
that's why I made the point about the Mandela effect, because that's like the same thing, right?
no, the Mandela effect is like a ripple in time that creates an alternate universe or some shit. That's why that's like the whole Berenstain Bears
Well,
thing.
no, it's a popular.
And like the fucking, you don't know about the Berenstain Bears?
Yeah.
Okay.
Berenstain.
Berenstain Bears.
Berenstain.
The beloved
Stain.
children's cartoon book featuring bears.
You don't know the conspiracy theory behind that?
No.
Well, a lot of people remember it as being the Berenstain Bears, right?
Yeah.
Right.
But
it's actually spelled with A. It's Berenstain Bears.
I knew that. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't think that's
And
what
it's
I
all
don't. I think
because
you're
there's like
you're misinterpreting it. What it is, it's a regurgitation of popular culture, saying it a certain way, so you remember it wrong because of how popular culture has fed it to you. And I think that ties into fake news. It's just like I said, like if I say, if you build it, most people will say, what will you say? If I say, if you build it, what would you say?
I'll live in it.
if you build it, they will come. It
Right.
will come.
No, it's not they, it's he. So, but we all remember it as they because in popular culture,
I never
they
even
always.
watched that movie though.
Yeah, right. No, but everybody usually remembers it
Here's
as
another
they will
one.
come
Here's
because it's
another
like popular
weird
culture.
one.
That's what they fed.
Is that whole
think that's-
Sinbad playing
Yeah, it's Shazam.
Shazam in
Yeah,
a
yeah.
separate
It's
movie?
actually Shaq
It's
playing a
Shaq.
genie in
Yeah.
Kazam.
But people don't say that movie doesn't exist, but they said that Sinbad also created one that was called
Right,
Shazam.
I think what they're remembering is there was a movie called Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he was in that movie trying to get that Turbo Man doll, trying to steal it from Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, there's people
And
that
like at one point, I
claim
think
it.
he was disguised as
it was like the same year or something.
He
I
was
think.
like disguised. Yeah, he was like had like a fucking genie suit on for some reason in some scene. And now people think it's all Sinbad. That and Sinbad kind of dresses like a genie
Yeah.
too. Like,
people were claiming like they have the movie on VHS.
Wasn't
and shit,
he in
and,
the
like,
genie movie though too?
Which one?
no, Shaq was.
Shaq was
Shaq was in the
Shazam,
genie movie.
and then
Sinbad never.
was in a genie movie.
No, he was never in a genie movie.
Oh man.
Apparently.
Yeah, you're right. No, so fake news, I think, is they say something over and over and over and over again until people believe it. Right? I heard another interesting thing too.
No, it's
It's kind
it
of a
goes
history.
back to like President Ronald Reagan. There was like there used to be a law, right? A rule that said that.
Law or something.
No, there used to be a rule like for news stations where like if you had someone on your show arguing
Shut
a
that off,
point,
would you?
if you had someone on your show arguing a point, you had to have someone else on your show with counterpoint.
Good,
You know what I
good,
mean?
good. Yeah, right.
There used to be like a rule.
couldn't
kind
be
of
one
it used
side-
to be a
couldn't be
law.
one
It
side.
used to be a law. You
point
can't just have
counterpoint.
yeah.
Right.
Point. You had to have a point and the counterpoint.
Left,
on
right,
both
and
on your
center.
show to argue each side. You can't just have one guy on saying all this shit.
Yeah.
You have to have someone there to debate it
Right. Left, right,
and
center.
question it.
Yeah.
Well, Ronald Reagan got rid of that law. So once he got rid of that, it was you no longer had to have someone on your show calling you out.
Right.
Also, he also made it legal for drug companies to advertise on television now in commercials, and that's why we have nothing but fucking drug commercials on
Dude.
TV.
Then Bill Clinton signed a law that deregulated the media, so that the law used to be that if you can only own one media company within a market, you know.
Yeah, you
So we
can't
got
own
rid of that law.
radio,
So it went
TV,
from
right.
like 30 or 40 different media companies to like 6.
Yeah. Obama did something too with the ability for the government to fund propaganda too.
Yeah.
He also made some law where it's like the government could give money to companies to do this or that. I guess that lapsed a few months back when that learn to code shit was happening. That's when the Obama era law that he passed lapsed, and places like BuzzFeed and CNN that were doing all those reporter layouts. I don't know if it was CNN. It was one of them. I know it was BuzzFeed. They were laying off a bunch of reporters because they stopped getting that government money to sell the lie. And then that's another thing I found interesting today too. I listened to an interesting speech about, if you ask most people on the streets, you'd be like, which party is the racist party, right? Which party is the anti-diversity party? And
Green.
80% of people would be like, oh, Republicans. Yeah, Republicans. They're the KKK ones. They're the racist ones. They're the stuff. And it's like everybody has forgotten history, right? What's the history? Abraham Lincoln was a Republican. The Democrats fought the abolishment of slavery to the point of civil war, okay? So the Democrats started the Civil War because they wanted slavery to stay equal, okay? Move on down the line after the Civil War. So the Republicans essentially win the Civil War. Move on down the line to allowing blacks to become citizens and the 13th and 14th Amendment. Fought by the Democrats, advocated by the Republicans, won by the Republicans. Move on down the line. Women's suffrage, women's right to vote, women's equality, okay? Promoted by Republicans, passed by Republicans, opposed by all Democrats across the board, okay? Let's move on down the line. Segregation, anti-segregation laws and segregation, opposed by Republicans, advocated by Democrats. So if I said that wrong, Republicans wanted to desegregate schools and Democrats wanted to keep segregation laws on the book. Okay, let's move on down the line.
We all
1964 Civil Rights Acts, promoted by Republicans, passed by Republicans, opposed by Democrats. Okay, the first Chinese congressman, Republican. The first woman congressman, Republican. First black congressman, Republican. Okay.
Do you think the Republicans might have jacked the Democratic Party and they're just running both sides now?
Yeah, I don't know.
And they're just trying to make the left look really stupid.
I don't know, but people need to look back in their history on.
I bet that's what's going on.
Which party really is the party of racism.
I think someone hijacked the fucking Democratic Party. Like,
well, no, now and then they
look like
the
a
argument
bunch of
to make them look stupid.
The argument is now is that they say, well, what do Republicans do now for women's rights and for minorities' rights and blah blah blah. Well, the answer is Republicans don't do anything for women's rights, minorities' rights, or anything like that because they look at everybody the same. They treat everybody the same, and they don't care if you're a woman or a minority or this or that. It's like they're going to pass laws.
As long as you're a hardworking person.
They're going to pass laws that are good for the people. The people. Not just
not
minorities,
all the time.
not just women.
Not all the time, dude. Republicans are guilty of a lot of the same things the fucking Democrats are.
Well, I'm not saying that they're not, but
I'm
just saying in
you can't
general,
subscribe to one party. Like,
no.
So you you identify as a Republican?
I'm just telling the history of it.
Do you identify as a Republican?
No, I don't. I wouldn't say that I would vote one way or the other. But I mean, I don't really vote. I mean, I tend to lean towards Republican ideals.
But here's an interesting side point: in the yellow vests riots in Paris,
they're kind of weak. They're kind of weak today.
They're now throwing fecal bombs at the.
Nice. I didn't see that.
At the riot officers.
That's funny because we were watching it last week, and I was
like,
"Where do they shit?"
So
now we know.
They were taking it and
they
were like somehow capturing it, and I don't know if it was in like balloons or something like that, and they were fucking taking them and
throwing them at the cops.
Yep.
That's a good idea.
Why not?
That's fucking guerrilla warfare,
dude. That's terrible, man. That's a terrible thing.
That's worse than chemical bombs.
Like, man,
animal behavior.
This protest is getting shitty.
No doubt.
Literally.
No, it didn't impress me much today. I don't know. I don't even know what. Dude, nobody reports on it. I don't even know what they're protesting. I can't read French. I don't know what they're chanting.
All the fucking media reports is Russian collusion, Russian this, Russian that. It's like.
Yeah, but dude, are they
people we're sick of hearing about the fucking Russians.
The only thing I think
there's nothing there.
Heard about the
French.
French.
I'll watch it on YouTube without it being like, this is funded by the Russians.
I think that the French, what I was told is that it's not one issue, it's many issues. Like, they want to overall reduce the income for average households, I think. They also want to raise the retirement age. They want to take away more vacation time. And people are getting pissed because they're like, fuck you, we're not going to allow that. And I think there's many issues, but those
they're trying to take social programs away and they're freaking out about it?
To those, some of those degrees.
That and then the gas prices, I know, is one of them, right?
Yeah, trying to.
So are they communists then? Trying to overthrow a capitalist system? That's what I'm.
Crazy. That's been going on for so long. No one knows what the fuck is going on.
I don't know if I'm rooting because I can't root for communists.
Can you buy like a French newspaper or a French
a baguette? I think, but wouldn't you, if they keep on raising the retirement age, don't you think that's kind of fucked up even if they were to do that here? People would be pissed.
They are doing that here, dude.
Well, I mean, 65 to 70.
Now it's 68. We can't retire until we're 68.
70 to 75. I mean, where does it stop? Where do you start getting pissed?
They better start giving us the elixir of life, or we can't be working that long.
They said by 2035.
There's no way I'm working until I'm 70.
They said 2035 people will be able to achieve immortality because you'll be able to download your consciousness into a computer. And you can either live through the computer or you can use that computer in some sort of a weird,
dude, I
like
want the immortality.
Cloned body.
I want the immortality of, like, the ancients, dude. Of, like, the Anunnaki, dude. I want to live, like, 30,000 years like the fucking Sumerian kings.
The Anunnaki.
Yeah, dude.
Doesn't that mean that they're still alive now?
I don't want to upload to nothing, dude. Well, that's what they say.
Then they can delete you.
That's what they say, that like the Rothschilds and like the Rockefellers and stuff are actually like an ancient bloodline, and there's some of them are like hundreds of years old, potentially thousands of years old, and that's how they've been able to like manipulate the system.
It takes them all forever to fucking die.
Well, it's because they're lizard people, dude. And
look at the fucking. You got the Queen of England.
Look at how long the tortoises live at, like fucking 300 years or something, right?
You got fucking George H.W. Bush, who finally passed away. He fucking was how old?
Yeah, 100.
That was the son of fucking Prescott Bush, right?
Mm-hmm.
The fucking Nazi.
Well, that's
fucking
what they say,
bank investor.
Like the richest people and like the top people are never in the limelight because they're probably like some sort of ancients and they don't ever want to be known publicly. Like, it's so funny to be like, yeah, Jeff Bezos, he's the richest guy in the world, and you're like, wait a minute, he didn't inherit any of his money. He just made his own business, and now he's the richest guy in the world. It's like, no. Like, the Queen of Elizabeth and the royal family have been billionaires for hundreds of years.
The Queen of Elizabeth and the royal family. Did you watch that thing, The Ninth Circle? You ever heard of The Ninth Circle, dude?
Was that the black nobility stuff?
No. It's basically, it's like, dude, it's like been proven in courts and fucking like everyone.
Yeah,
it's very obvious. This like dude, Jerry Seville or something. Jerry Seville.
Yeah, Jerry Seville. Yeah,
fucking,
BBC reporter.
Yeah, he fucking had, dude. He was selling kids, dude. He was selling children and he was raping them and fucking murdering them.
To Prince Henry.
And he was supplying, dude. And he was supplying other high level people with kids, with
royals.
children.
It was like
royal,
Prince Edward
royal families.
Yeah.
With fucking kids.
That's fucked
And they used to take them on things called the last ride or whatever. They take all the kids on a boat ride after they all fucked them up.
Come on.
And just fucking, that was the last ride they'd ever take.
Did you guys see that
they
Oprah?
fucking kill kids, dude.
Did you see that Oprah Winfrey thing I sent you? Dude, I see it was Oprah Winfrey Network. OWN. If you reverse that, it's NWO. Remember? I sent that to you?
Oh,
dude,
yeah.
That's her actual logo, dude.
Dude, she's part of it.
I seen that at the end of the Michael Jackson thing she did. She did, like, the Michael Jackson movie aired on HBO on Sunday. And then, like, that next Monday, she did, like, a interview with the victims. It was like, are they promoting boy love here? Like, what's going on, dude? And then at the end, there it was, like, Oprah Winfrey Network.
How did Oprah Winfrey get rich? Just being a talk show host?
Oh, dude, she's so rich.
What did she do to get all that money? Because she's got a lot of fucking money,
right?
You
know we're ties to John of God, dude. Have you heard about that?
I heard of John of God.
Yeah. She interviewed him in 2010 and was, like, a known supporter of, like, John of God.
So how did she get so famous? How did a black
she
woman in the
show,
fucking...
Man.
That was it? She's a talk show host? That's it?
Well, she sold books, but I think she was doing some other shit. Like, I think she was also,
like a woman's rights advocate of, like, epic proportions or something?
But to what degree of, like...
But how do you make money off being a woman's rights advocate?
I think she became, like, a producer of, like, movies or like a producer of books. She started a publishing
Google it,
company.
dude. Why is Oprah Winfrey famous? What did she do?
She was also supplying.
She just has her own.
She's also supplying girls to Harvey Weinstein.
She owns her own fucking TV station, and right?
Dude.
Obviously, she owns her own TV station.
Look up her logo, dude.
Oprah Winfrey Network.
She was supplying. She was supplying young starlets to Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, that's probably it.
Weinstein.
Yeah, it's all the same.
Shit.
And dude, I just saw a thing. Another iceberg the size of New York just broke off the ice shelf. It's
No
like,
way.
Didn't you just post an article ago?
Didn't you say that?
An article a week ago
so
about how there's a super volcano underneath Antarctica. It's like, dude, if the center of the Earth is all lava, it's gonna melt the fucking ice, right?
I don't know, dude.
There's a volcano. Supposedly there's a volcano underneath Antarctica the size of fucking.
This morning.
That Yosemite.
This morning I seen
the super caldera.
I seen a video
with the unlimited magma.
What happened here to our little projector? I seen looks like she's done. What happened here? I seen a video of an article that the Associated Press put out in 1988 that said the UN said that
sweet.
like sea level rise would be catastrophic by the year 2000 if climate change kept on its way, blah blah blah. Like they're all gonna die in 1988, dude. You guys were born in '88, weren't you?
Yeah.
How'd you do?
You
just went to Florida, dude.
For some reason, I keep on seeing the numbers 88 everywhere.
Really?
Like KT88s. Fucking every part I do at work, like the last, there's like an 88 in the part number somewhere. It's like, dude.
There's definitely fucking patterns in it. Where's that thing that I saw?
What's wrong? Is it battery dead? Yeah. Remember the projector they used to have in schools?
See?
Oh yeah,
man.
There you go.
No doubt, dude. Memes say it all.
She is a fucking dealer of children.
Memes say it all.
They're all in it together. It's a fucking gang, and they're all fucking dirty.
Dude, that's fucking. It goes deep, dude. It goes real deep.
The whole thing.
The underground reptilian lizard people. We still got.
We could wrap it up. You want to keep going? Lizard people, fuck that projector. We don't even need it anyways. I don't know, man. All I know is you don't know nothing. And it's cool all the information they can put in our heads. It's pretty wild. You ever seen the patent that they had in like 1966? That it was a modulation. It was a light flicker modulation machine that would modulate what was coming into a TV that would put you into a
trance,
like a theta state. I don't know if it's like theta or delta. I forget what they called it.
Beta.
Exactly. But like you
beta
essentially like
beta,
a hypnotized state. So then they can like feed you information, and it was a patent made in like 1964. So like 1964, they had the technology to make your TV blink in a certain way that made you like go into a trance.
Now, is that talking like tube TVs, like how they were then, or like?
I don't know. It was just maybe. It was just like a patent showing it. You can like look it up, declassified.
Oh, I believe
documents
it.
Out there.
But yeah, I wonder how that, if it's still like that today, just updated with the technology.
Oh, it's got to be. I think it's like
dude,
that's
in
what
the
cell
how
phone
much one
towers
of those
are doing, dude?
How much did one of those giant fucking TVs cost like in the 70s?
A lot of money, just like
TV.
Compared, like it's relative to like today's prices. Like
I don't think it is, man.
I think back then they were expensive.
They were like $600 back then, right?
Yeah,
like
which was a lot of money. Yeah,
which is a lot of money back then, dude. I just bought a 55-inch fucking TV for $300.
Well, yeah, it's cheaper now because it's so much easier to produce, and we're buying them.
Yeah, but you would think that, dude, everything costs more except for TV.
Originally, when they first came out with the flat screens like that, they were still
because
they
want to make it cheap because they want you to have one. They want you to get your information.
Apparently, they've been communicating.
You know what I mean? They want you to get all your information from the TV channels. That's why a TV is cheap. You know what I mean? A TV is cheaper now than it was when it was fucking invented. And it's like TV's kind of a big thing.
It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's cheaper now, man.
If it wasn't for like the subliminal programming and shit like that, I would absolutely. TV's great. I mean,
like rent has gone up, gas has gone up, prices, everything has gone up
except for TVs. Well, because it's like more of a they want to sell them so they could because there's known information about them, using them to monitor, right? They turn
coming
on the
into your screen.
Yeah, and then B probably to fuck with our heads, man.
Like there's probably a camera. My TV doesn't have a camera that I know of. It's probably easy for them to hide one right behind the glass, right?
Oh yeah,
in the
easily.
Corner or something.
It'd be just like having like a two-way mirror or a one-way mirror.
Yeah.
You can see one way. Now I wonder how that
two-way
works.
Two-way mirror would just be a piece of glass.
Yeah.
Right?
But so I wonder how that works though too, because like, what if you don't have any sort of internet connection to it, or in your house? Is it finding a way to connect still? Could it be like a wireless receiver using the same wavelengths as like cell phones?
Yeah, and it just uses the power source of the TV.
As long as the TV's plugged in, it could be using and transmitting images that it's recording through the internet,
right?
And then broadcasting it somewhere to someone that's collecting the.
Because even if you don't have who
data.
has a smart TV and doesn't have Wi-Fi, you have fucking Wi-Fi.
Most people
so
do.
They probably just tap into your Wi-Fi. Boom, there's our camera.
Mm-hmm.
Watching you beat off to fucking.
It's Stormy Daniels.
Mud wrestling.
I think they've hacked my system recently. I've been having some computer glitches that aren't normal.
Not normal.
Because I've been watching some fairly aggressive things. And
because you've been outspoken in your beliefs that
saying fairly aggressive things.
Yep.
Lately.
Dude, you're getting woke. You're gonna go broke.
You know what's bothered me is there was a Bernie. It was like a Bernie rally on YouTube, like a live feed, and I decided to troll it one night. Just one night. Listen, I am not subscribed or anything, but like I just went on the feed and was like, "Oh, here comes another victim. Oh, some more victims telling us their victim story. Oh, I'm such a victim of this victimhood." And I just like said victim nonstop. I'm like, "Oh, here's another beautiful victim." And then I'm like. Then the next one was, "Do you victim, bro?" And I was just like, "Oh, but does he victim, bro?" Oh, the victimhood is so deep. And I I was drunk and I was having fun. Anyways, ever since then, I keep getting the fucking Bernie Sanders feeds come up in my shit. I'm not subscribed. I haven't watched them.
Did you clear your cookies?
I keep I gotta clear my cookies.
That's probably it.
I got too many cookies floating.
That's probably it.
Probably just they're trying to promote Bernie.
Yeah.
He's trying to promote Bernie. He signed a fucking allegiance, a document of allegiance to the DNC. He signed this shit, and they gave him like 600. And they gave him probably $600 million on top of that.
Hundreds of years old.
Yeah, I put a Jesuit oath
written
at the front
on one of the
album,
first pieces of papyrus.
Do you know that? You know that?
Hmm?
There's a Jesuit oath in the front of our album, MK Ultra, when we're saying greatness, world domination. I got a Jesuit oath, the oath of.
Oh yeah, I knew that. I thought you were talking like in the picture. I'm like, no, there's not.
No, to destroy.
A guy picked fucking about
destroy all nations, boil, fillet. It's pretty good. It's a pretty good one. It's good. It's good rhetoric. George rhetoric. Yeah, man. But here's what I learned this week. I think.
You think?
This is what I think. This might be an epiphany. I don't know.
Who's Tiffany?
Yeah. Breakfast at Epiphanies.
Yeah. Breakfast at Epiphanies. Every time I talk about this shit, because lately it's been like weighing on me, and I see it everywhere. It's in the movies, it's in the shows, it's in the whatever it is. I see it. It's all around me. It's in the videos I'm watching. And like every time I come across somebody, like I want to talk about it,
but you can't,
and remind them about it. No, but I always end up doing it, and then like I'm thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna awaken them to this, and then I'm thinking to myself, what am I awakening people even to?
You can't red pill.
The conversation always goes into the negative. If anybody's listening over their shoulder, they're only thinking negative thoughts like, what the fuck? It usually ends up in an argument with the other person. It really does.
Well, it's like I said, man. I went out a couple weeks ago, and I like everyone standing around, and started talking about Hillary Clinton eating babies, and everyone just slowly moved away from me.
Dude.
I was like, shit. I was like, my bad.
Yeah.
They don't want to be hit with truth bombs.
No, you don't know. Like nothing good ever comes from those conversations, and if you think about it, like, yo, that's such a terrible thing. Like, why are we speaking it into the universe so freely?
Well, no, it's not. No, it's not. People don't want it. People aren't woke, dude.
They don't want to see
not
the
as
evil.
woke as
like,
I am.
what is it? Like, do they? Dude, because in the last couple of weeks I've had a few confrontations from it, like a couple, like, well, whatever, man. You're always bringing up this shit with your negative.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Like, what the fuck, man? Can we just talk about the weather and shit?
Don't you think that's how it?
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's how it happens. They want you to do that
because normal people aren't fucking critical thinkers, dude. We're not normal people in this room right now.
Yeah, but does it bother them? Are they scared of it? Like, what is it? Like,
well, they're just so indoctrinated that if you try to bring it up, they try to fight you on it, and they don't fight you with any facts or anything like that. They fight you with their emotions.
No, and they
get pissed off.
They've come at me really hard with like names and stuff, and I'm like, man, I feel like a fucking shithead now. I feel like a total fucking dirtbag.
That's why you can talk about this shit here.
Yeah,
you can't talk about it out there.
I mean, I'm glad we could do this together, and you guys were not like
judging.
So sick of you, Travis, coming here every week with this mind
control
dude. Talk. Like, what the fuck, man? You know, life's not that hard. Like, you're such an asshole, dude. Mike, you talking about
Hillary
Clinton.
Okay.
Oh, dude. You know what I mean? That's like, it's like.
I don't even like that. I don't even like a recreation of that.
Yeah,
I don't like, God forbid, I don't
this
like
is the only
thing.
place I can talk about fucking conspiracy theories
and
Clinton eating babies and
I
shit.
just think like.
I can't talk to this about anyone
dude,
else,
and because in like my head, I'm thinking like, dude, everybody wants to talk about this. Like, yo, this is the juiciest conversation there is. In my head, I'm like, oh, what better, deeper conversation if we talk about the ties between Jeffrey Epstein, the DNC, John Podesta, you know what I mean? Sex trafficking,
Pizzagate,
John of God, and
Pizzagate,
Oprah,
aliens, flat Earth,
Oprah's connection to Harvey Weinstein,
the moon landing. I keep on getting fucking ads.
Dude,
I keep on getting ads on my Facebook for that Apollo 11 movie.
Oh,
dude, and I've seen like fucking 10 of them, and I fucking
wasn't there like some
I go through the comments
bullshit.
And people are like, look at all these stupid people that think we didn't land on the moon. Blah, blah, blah.
Wasn't there like some
conversation?
Dude, it's like, dude, didn't you know that fucking all 6 moon landings happened under the Nixon administration? It's like, dude, that dude's the shadiest fucking dude ever, man.
Yeah,
he was pulling off fucking. That dude was pulling some stunts.
Wasn't there?
There's no way
bullshit
he wouldn't fake the moon
where
landing.
they say that the picture of the first of Neil Armstrong's first footprint doesn't match the moon boot tread that he was wearing.
And then when you bring shit up like that, dude, they got some bullshit explanation. And, you know what I mean? And then they get you off.
It's different on the moon.
Like, move on to the second.
Yeah.
They never address the
my
fucking
favorite.
Dude, how do you get the film across the Van Halen radiation belt? How'd you get that film across the Van Halen radiation
William
belt?
Cooper talk
The
about
Van Halen, really?
Yeah.
What does he say? I got a bridge. You buying it? Because he talks about the gravity on the moon, and he's like, how come the astronauts were jumping like 9 feet? How come they weren't driving? He said if the gravity was like that on the moon and they landed that rover, the dust.
There would have been dust. It would have been burnt
dust.
Earth.
No,
like,
the dust wouldn't have settled for like 6 hours. It would have been like dust, like floating the atmosphere slowly because of the gravity.
Yeah.
And
they also said that the spacesuits that they were wearing wouldn't have protected them from radiation. They would have been all fucked up if they actually went past the Earth's atmosphere.
But now they just came out and said the Earth's atmosphere is actually beyond the moon. Like the moon is in Earth's atmosphere. Did you see this shit, dude? NASA has been saying this. NASA is now saying that. They just now figured out that the moon is inside the Earth's atmosphere.
So if you build a bridge to the moon, you can walk there safely.
Didn't you need information like that when you went to the fucking moon?
I mean, the gravity thing.
Wouldn't that have been an important thing to know?
Why wouldn't they hit a golf ball like on that film and have the golf ball shoot off into the horizon?
Right, to prove it.
You know what I mean? They could have. You would have weighed like a grown man, I guess, with the spacesuit. He was saying would weigh like 60 pounds.
Dude, and then they just all the film is destroyed. Like all the like they just recorded over.
Oh
like
yeah, we didn't have the budget.
Like it was a VHS.
We get $20 billion a year. We didn't have the budget.
The greatest accomplishment of mankind.
We can't
supposedly,
get back there.
It's like, oh, we taped over it.
Dude, we should be taking cruises to the moon.
What did you tape over it? What was so important?
I think the biggest proof
MTV
is
Music Awards around. You know, it's the only tape you had, so you fucking
from 2003
over it.
The biggest best proof is why hasn't Elon Musk been back there yet? Why hasn't Richard Branson? Why hasn't SpaceX landed on the moon yet? We're talking about they did it in 1970 with a couple $1 billion.
You can't get to the moon, man.
And today,
it should be easier and cheaper.
It's 2019. The technology, we got computers in our cell phones that are 29 times more powerful, 1,000 times more powerful than the computers they used in 1969 when they flew in the moon.
All right, here's a
here it is.
Here's an analogy
it's
for you,
1,000 times more powerful than what they went to.
You know how when you were a kid, right, and you'd climb a tree,
back?
you'd climb a tree, right, and you get to a branch, and you see how far you can go out on the branch, and it's like you get to that one point where you're like, whoa, you know, okay, this is probably good. Probably go back down. Imagine that scenario, but with like going to space, like how the first guy, however high he got before he was like, okay, whoa. You know what I mean? it's I don't know what my point was about that, but it's got to be super difficult, dude, to get anyone to even want to go.
So they don't know what they're getting in.
The atmosphere, you know what I mean?
Super scary.
And like, dude, super fucking scary.
I mean, there's people out there. That's super scary. I could never get in a rocket and launch myself to the moon. Holy fuck. And like a little thing, dude, and like if you go outside, you're going to turn an icicle instantly.
Dude, it's
like,
not an easy thing to accomplish. You don't just fucking shoot a rocket to the moon,
you
dude.
Ever looked into
you have
Project
to know.
Fishbowl?
You gotta know a lot of things and do a lot of research.
You ever heard that Project Fishbowl?
Oh yeah.
Where they were dumping nukes into the atmosphere, in the I think they were doing it in the 50s and 60s. It was called Project Fishbowl, and it was like another declassified. I forget what they called it, but they were nuking the atmosphere. There's like footage of it. You want me to put it up? Nuclear. Let's see if I can get it.
Nuclear.
But yeah, man, it's like how difficult it would be so difficult to get to the moon.
Not only that, if you look at like the one guy I worked
it's
with,
not something you just do 6 times and then don't do it again for another fucking 60 years.
Yeah, the one guy I worked with, he's like, I went to Florida, I went to the NASA, like the Space Museum, and he's like, you should see, they have the original, they have the fucking craft there of what they allegedly landed on the moon with. He's like,
it's like tinfoil.
He's like, this thing looks like fucking like some cheap sheet metal. He's like,
right.
How the fuck did they go? How the fuck did they go to the moon in this?
How did they launch off the moon?
Yeah.
Back
I'm like,
dude, they had to launch off
the
the moon.
They had never tested that.
Reattach to the fucking whatever dude orbiting fucking right because you don't just land on the fucking moon.
Yeah.
You got to get into the moon's. The moon has an atmosphere. I don't know.
Probably a small.
I don't think so.
No, not much. Might be some gases, but not like ours.
So how
did they test that? How did they test that was even going to be possible?
Dude, yeah. How? So now they say I don't know. They might have said that the moon has its own atmosphere, but now they're saying that the Earth or the moon is in Earth's atmosphere. So
then how? If it's in Earth's atmosphere, then how is it supposedly drifting away further and further every year? If it's in the atmosphere, it's obviously in the
there's
strong
something with the moon, like the
gravitational pull.
I mean, the moon affects the tide, right? You know what I mean? Is that? Do you agree on that?
Yeah.
The moon can affect water.
Allegedly, yeah.
The moon can affect water.
Gravity of the moon, yeah.
Well, you're like people are 80% water.
I'll tell you what though, when I was on that cruise, there was a full moon the one night, and the fucking waves were fucking. That was a rocky time.
So dude. I'm not saying the Earth is flat or anything, or I'm just saying it's really hard to get to the fucking moon, first of all. And second of all,
because you got to get past the gravitational pull of the Earth, and then you got to get through the fucking atmosphere without burning up. And once you get past that, then you got to survive radiation and complete freezing in the vacuum of space, and then still more radiation.
Space is fake, dude.
Like, wouldn't all spacesuits then be like completely lined with like lead to protect you from? You'd have to have some thick ass lead.
I mean, dude. There's something like
there's too many questions.
There's something going on, right? Yeah, there's too many. Where there's smoke, there's fire, right?
And
there's too many questions and not enough
heard
answers.
Stories about like how the director Stanley Kubrick is the one who fucking filmed the moon landings, and he did it in a fucking hangar somewhere.
Yeah, where is he now?
In the Southwest.
Dead.
Battery is low.
I forgot what you were gonna pull up. So I don't know, dude. Spake could be fake. And it's like whenever people are arguing on these threads, like, oh, how do you believe the fucking space is fake? And
I don't believe anything they told me, man.
Right, you did. Yeah, they just believe the shit that they just believe science that they can't prove on their own.
What's worse, to believe everything and be gullible, or to question things and sometimes be wrong about it?
Yeah.
It's because I got no problem admitting when I'm wrong. If I'm wrong, dude,
that's what people are afraid of, admitting that they're wrong sometimes. It's kind of like a stupid pride.
They don't want to be wrong.
They don't want to believe that they've been tricked so hard.
That's
cognitive dissonance is like when your beliefs are challenged with information that contradicts your thinking, and you know that information is probably right, but your beliefs don't allow you to accept that.
Well, when they
and it kind of creates a conflict in you, and it fucks you up.
They project themselves onto people they don't even know. They're like, oh, they would never do that. Like someone would never do that.
How does anybody know
that? It's
like
like maybe you would never do that,
yeah.
But why are you projecting your own feelings about the situation onto someone else you don't even know?
People
like the head of NASA and shit. Like, dude, NASA.
People don't know their intents.
Was a Nazi, dude.
NASA's a fucking breakaway government.
Von Braun was a Nazi.
He was
Operation Paperclip.
Nuclear bomb Nazis.
They granted them an amnesty to come over here and advance our technology and work with our government.
And they're in the making of
occultists.
And they're pulling this off. They're pulling this trick off right in front of everyone, dude. They've tricked everyone.
Fuck.
But now they got shows, hunting Nazis and all that stuff. Like, we have them right in our fucking government.
What are we gonna do about it?
See, when you say something like,
just talk about it.
Do you believe in on the moon? Even if I say, I don't know. I don't say yes. I don't say no. I said I don't know. Then you're still crazy. Like everyone, a lot of people agree that absolutely they went to the moon. That's a fact, right?
I can
There are no absolutes,
but it's not a fact.
I could slightly argue that I'm cool with my life. I'm a good little cattle. I'm gonna go to my job and I'm okay with my life. Like, things are good. Like, I don't need to radically change anything. I'm not failing so hard. I mean, that being said, at what point in time does this all culminate into something? I mean, you're right. And I almost believe
I believe the population down.
Every day I believe it more and more. But hold on. At what point do we do more than just talk about it and say it's okay, and be like?
Oh, well, that's all I'm here to do. I'm not trying to stop it.
No, I'm just saying. Well, that's what I'm saying. At what point would you though? At what point would you just be like, you know what? Like, they'd have to. Like, at what
It'd
point
be a breaking point.
They'd have to fuck your life up somehow, right?
They'd have to.
Like, how would that be?
It would be pretty severe, because they'd probably come and tell you that you're not allowed to. They'd kick you out of your house, take all your shit, take away all your rights,
take away internet from you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Let me.
Right. That would probably be it. That'd probably be like if they censoring the internet. That's
they're already doing that.
Right, but
so that line's been crossed. What else? Take your guns. How about I got an idea. I got a proposal. What if they showed up at your house and said that you need a flu shot?
Yeah, no,
and you got to get it.
I'm fighting someone.
Mm-hmm.
Would you fight then?
I would.
Or do you just
if it came to that, I'd be like, no.
If they came to your house and they're like, you got to get a flu shot or we're going to arrest you and quarantine you and put you over here. And they're going to fuck your life up. They're going to fucking take your money. You're going to lose your job. They're going to put you in prison, all that. Like, they're going to ruin your life like they do if they decide with other things. Let alone if they call you a terrorist, they can put you in jail for life and you don't even get a trial, just so you know. And they could be calling you that if they decide.
Right.
So at that point, do you fight?
I think you would.
And
dude,
this is
not going to throw me in jail because I won't.
I
won't let you inject shit in my body.
This is the scenario that they're working towards.
Technically, isn't that rape? Penetrating your body without consent.
Believe it or
in
not,
any orifice or manner.
Right.
Believe it or not, it's vaccines are already mandated in a few states. And I believe in
There's
New
a
York.
big debate about
in New York too. Like, if you go to public schools in New York,
you have to
have certain vaccines.
You have to have like hepatitis and shit like that.
Right. If you're a nurse worker,
if I have kids, I'll homeschool my fucking kids.
A hospital
dude.
worker, I get it. I get that, but yeah, there is a few states, and I think New York is one of them that already mandates vaccines. So my point.
But there used to be only you know what I mean, 6 vaccines
like
that you
polio,
had to get when you were a kid, right?
Now we don't even know,
dude. Now there's
smallpox.
hundreds.
Yeah, they're like, oh yeah,
dude,
this vaccine's got 32 in it. Do this one. You're like,
and
whoa.
They say no. They say shit that they say that some things like autism is a side effect. Like that's not a side effect. That's an effect.
You ready for
that's
this
not
fact?
a side effect.
I've seen this.
Why
fact
are you throwing the
week.
word "side" in there? It's an effect of the fucking vaccine.
I seen this statistic this week. I don't know if you guys caught it. You might have, but I like to watch live government feeds. Anyways, Rand Paul said that since 1988, there's been a fund that has given out $4 billion in damages from the government for vaccines.
Yeah, because
so there's a fund set up by the government that has given out $4 billion since 1988.
Yeah, because if you get autism from a vaccine, it's illegal to sue the fucking pharmaceutical
they've given
company.
out $4 billion.
What I don't
it's
understand.
illegal to sue the pharmaceutical company. You're not allowed to sue a pharmaceutical company if your kid gets autism from a vaccine. Or
what I
don't
understand is people are upset about people not getting vaccinated because they're afraid of a disease, but if you get vaccinated, why are you afraid someone else isn't vaccinated? You're protected from this vaccine. You're protected from it because you got the vaccine.
Well,
so you need to get vaccinated for my vaccine to work.
You ready?
You need to get vaccinated for my vaccine to work.
Yeah.
Something's not right there.
No. It's to protect the old people and the babies, but which is also a lie. And then here's another.
But seriously, I mean, I can understand that.
That's a good point. I never thought of that.
What, to protect the old people and the babies?
No. If you're so against, why are you so against vaccine? If you have the vaccine, you're protected against it.
What are you afraid of?
Yeah, you're already immune.
Because it's like a misinformation ploy that they sell. And here's the thing about measles too. Talk about measles. There's a measles outbreak.
Mumps and measles.
All right, 200 people got measles. And people used to get measles all the time. It's like chickenpox. I had chickenpox. I don't know if you guys did.
Yeah.
You might have got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now there's a vaccine for chickenpox. People don't get chickenpox anymore. It's like, wait a minute, everybody got chickenpox. And be like, oh well, it's dangerous. And it's like 1 in 5,000 people die of chickenpox. 1 in 2,000 people die of measles. Who gives a shit? There's only 200 people got measles. I guarantee you, none of them are gonna die from it.
Sorry, if you get measles, you're fucked. What happens if you get cancer? You're fucked.
Yeah.
Like, sorry.
Yeah.
Your life's over.
Today, I mean, even if you get it, there's better treatments available, so you don't.
Yeah. I
have such a higher
guarantee
chance of
none
dying.
of those 200 people of measles. I mean, God forbid if they do. Rest their souls if they do. I'm sorry, but I don't think any of those 200 cases of measles are going to lead to anybody dying. I think they're just going to get a rash. And
there's worse fucking diseases than that.
Yeah.
What about like the fucking bubonic plague and shit like that?
I mean, like the polio vaccine. All right, I get that. Polio is a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Polio.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want polio. It fucking cripples you.
Poliosis.
Other things that are like, and I know there's other things. There's other things that are bad.
Marco poliosis.
And then the argument is, if 1 in 2,000 people die from measles, what's the percentage on the flu? I think it's actually higher.
The flu vaccine is bullshit because it's created after the flu strand's already done its and ran its course.
So the flu
it's always
is more
a step
dangerous.
behind.
The flu is more dangerous than measles, and they're making measles into the flu.
The flu vaccine's always going to be at least one step behind because it's the germs and the bacteria, the virus, whatever the fuck it is always evolving. It's always going to be some step ahead of immunity, just like MRSA, just like fucking gonorrhea. They got super like
the Tuskegee
resistant bacterias that can't be fought.
Yeah.
So it's always evolving. So you're saying that you're going to give me a fucking vaccine for something that's not going to be worthwhile because that fucking strand's already come and gone? Sorry, but you're always a step behind with a flu vaccine.
Yeah, more people die from influenza than I think the measles, believe it or not.
In what countries,
more of a dangerous.
Same thing with the moon landing, dude. There's so much fucking there's so many questions.
That's my theory. What I think they're going to do, and I think that might be the tipping point, is I think there's going to be an influenza outbreak, and they actually just release funding to let scientists make a variation of the avian flu so they could study it or something. But it could like
make more money.
Transfer to people.
Pharmaceutical companies want to make more money.
So I think
and like
the government's
people now,
make a flu
that comes back to where the six companies that own the entire every media outlet. The 6 companies that own that.
They're gonna make a flu.
They don't make their money in media. They make their money in gold, oil, and pharmaceuticals. And they just own the media companies so they can sell their.
They own it all. They own every aspect.
Gold, oil, drugs, and so
they also have lobbyists who fucking work towards having fucking making the rules and the laws easier for them. They got hands in all aspects everywhere.
Who's they though? The Jews?
The hidden world cult
or the Satanists?
I don't know, man. There's so many. There's so many.
Cloak and dagger.
They throw so many breadcrumbs out on.
I mean,
like to try to throw you off the trail. They try to throw you off the trail so bad.
Can we call them globally? I think we can call them global. No. Global Satanists.
Global Satanist pedophile.
No, that goes
lizard
hand in hand.
lizard people. Lizard people.
I can't say all Satanists are pedophiles, but if you boil it right down to it, it usually ends up at pedophilia. So,
dude, you know those TED Talks?
On what you follow.
They just had a fucking TED Talk trying to normalize pedophilia, talking about, it's normal and it should be. They want people to think it's considered like a gender or like an identity. Like, are we going back to like the old fucking
do what thou wilt, man?
The old days.
Love is the law, right? It's like everything goes, whatever, as long as you love, everything goes. And it's like, no, that's a corruption of nature.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we're all if we were all homosexuals tomorrow, the world would end in 80 years because there would be no children. So
reproduction.
Like, I'm sorry to say, I mean, that's the truth.
That's what they want because they want they want a lesser population.
Yeah, but why? More people.
Easier to control.
Better, man.
Easier to control. They can
but they get all resources to themselves. So they don't have. Yeah, that's the main thing. It's easier to control. It's easier to control a group of 500,000 people.
Less money needed for it.
Right. So they tried to get everyone all docile.
But I take that back. I take that back though because I just thought of a scenario where we could live longer than 80 years because then they would just do like all like in vitro, like cross pollination, like robots.
That's what they're trying to do now.
Like
they're trying to take
genetically.
They're trying to make it so like these transgender people. They're trying to make it so these guys that apparently try to become women, they fucking chop off their dick, and now they're trying to they're trying to create artificial wombs for them to have fucking kids in.
They already did that. Did you see the sheep they did? They just gestated a sheep in an artificial womb. Oh man, so brutal. So I guess that theory's out the window. So I guess it doesn't matter. They got artificial wombs, and who cares? Do what thou wilt, right? Man, maybe that's more true than you want.
That's like the Matrix shit, right?
Maybe that's more true than you want it to be, man. That's what I'm talking about. Like, if you get down into it, like, aren't we just invoking the beast by getting down into it too far? Isn't it better to talk about something that is a productive movement forward? Like I established the breaking point. Like, if they come and try to inject something in you and you disagree with it, that's the breaking point.
There's others like trying to make you get like a fucking chip.
What's others? The chip. That's a breaking
one.
point. That's definitely a breaking point.
All your money is going to be tied to this chip, and we can turn it on and off whenever we want.
Like the homo stuff is not a breaking point. Who cares? I mean, at the end of the day, who cares? But I think a productive conversation instead of these dark things. Where do you go? How can we make it better every day? Because right now, I don't think I got any reason to act. Life's good. I'm fat. I'm full. I have fun. We do good.
They already take too much taxes from me and spend it on stupid shit.
Yeah.
And waste the fuck out of it. And they waste
taxes.
The money that they give them.
I'm pissed about taxes.
Right.
I'll get on
saying.
that.
It's the biggest scam.
They fucked me this year for sure.
Dude.
Where's the line with taxes? How much can they take before you
That's probably the line.
You think that's the line? They start.
Yeah. If they tax me 50%, dude, I don't know what
they have to get to.
I think
they can take a lot of fucking money from us before we're gonna do anything.
Right, because they just inch. I
don't even think we realize how much they already take, dude.
At least 30%.
They take a lot. They take a lot,
dude.
Imagine.
Well, take a look at your gross pay versus your actual.
Money, imagine the tax money you'd get from everyone on this block. Right?
Yeah, and we're $22 trillion. We're $22 trillion in debt, dude.
Maybe more. If you think about the property tax per every house, that's taxes right there.
Dude, who are we in debt to?
Dude,
also,
property, house, fucking, you got a job, you got a car,
income tax.
They always say that $22 trillion in debt to who? The world?
And then there's tax on, dude, there's literally tax on everything you buy.
To the Vatican?
And they tax, and then, like, dude, when you buy a used car.
Is it one source
when
or
you buy a
several?
used car, you have to pay taxes on a used car.
That tax has already been paid for the first time around.
Well, this is what kills me.
Yeah.
Right.
That should be
you pay
illegal.
Taxes when you get paid, and then you pay taxes when you spend the money. Well, wait a minute. You already taxed the money.
Right.
Why are you taxing it again when I spend it? Like, yeah, you
it's
already
a double
taxed
tax
me when I earned
or
it.
a triple tax.
Dude, yeah.
You better hold on to it, or we're gonna take some more. Better not buy nothing.
Every single transaction where money changes hands, there's a third hand in there.
There's a cut.
There's a third hand in there trying to take some of it. It's you can't even exchange money.
At what point do
you
fight that?
Without someone, you know what I mean? Without New York or the government fucking
and it's not like you can. It's not like you can
some.
vote for anybody and they're going to do anything good. Everybody's like, "Oh, Donald Trump's going to save us all." What did he? Come on. Nobody went to jail. He didn't drain any swamp. He hired a bunch of assholes. We're not out of any wars, despite what they say. All the soldiers are just still out. You know what I mean? We're like, oh, he's gonna do it. No, nothing happened. He didn't do it,
dude. He just fucking gives money to fucking Israel.
Their eyes are still closed, and it's like, oh, we'll just go out and vote and get some more elected officials in there, and they're gonna change it. And it's like they're stealing all our money.
It won't work.
They're censoring us. They're taking all our stuff. We're talking. We all feel this way. Like we're all of one mind in this way, and yet for some reason we just let it happen.
Do you see that Andrew Yang dude?
Doesn't he like memes or something?
Yeah.
He's running for president, or he wants to run for president.
Yeah.
He's
probably the same as any other fucking, you know what I mean? Probably gonna be the same, but you know what? He wants to give everyone universal basic income. So the world goes to shit, but you get $1,000 a month. I'm on board.
Equal levels.
Yeah, but then that ruins any incentive to do a fucking goddamn.
Who cares, dude?
Do a good job.
Who gives a fuck? World's going to shit.
Yeah, it's a nihilist attitude, man. The world's not going to shit, man.
The fucking country's going to shit.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
you're not going to get anyone in there who gives a fuck.
We get caught up in this negative talk.
All you're going to get, all these people that run for president are just pieces of shit.
Shit. What do we do?
You got to convince people to.
I mean, do we really
get rid of this two-party system?
Vote
for who they actually want to vote for.
Here's my point. Do we really even need a federal government? Really? Why do we need a federal government? What is it doing for us?
I mean, yeah, we kind of do.
We need a federal.
But there's got to be people in there who fucking aren't trying to line their pockets, dude.
Not
really
self-interest, but
can't the states negotiate
people
amongst
at
themselves?
that point now?
Yeah, dude, you find the smartest guy, you know what I mean, in town, right?
Like,
the
why
most
do we
reasonable, smartest guy in town, right? And you elect a mayor. You should do the same with president.
Like, why do we need a federal government, dude?
It doesn't.
I get a local
it's
government.
Called federal government that you don't like it. You know what I mean?
You need
it's
you
because
need
that's
police.
the name and you associate it with being something bad.
But you don't need police to like, out there hunting for, like, nonviolent crimes. They need to be there to like. There's like dudes coming into my house and they're trying to rob me. I need the police.
Well, what if there's a meth lab next door to your house? Okay, and it's. I mean, wouldn't that be annoying as fuck? Like, wouldn't you say we need a federal government so this type of shit doesn't happen?
Would you call your local police and be like, "Yo, there's a meth lab next door. Yo, come take it out, please." And they do.
And what about international child trafficking and fucking?
Okay, then you keep your border controls with I get you need a federal system, but the federal system should be each state contributes, their militia to the federal policing of the world. Like we don't even need to police the world.
Why don't you run for president, dude?
Dude, I don't understand. Like, why do we gotta police? Because I'm too dumb, undereducated.
Smoke pot. You got too much dirt on
there's
you.
no way
we need a federal government. We don't need a fucking CIA. We don't need an FBI. We don't need an FDA.
You don't
need fucking the EPA.
You don't need a nanny. We don't need a government nanny.
We don't need a CIA, an NSA.
You don't need the government nanny looking over every aspect of your life, though. You know.
Right.
Dude, I don't have the answers.
Like, why do you have to? And then they charge you. Like, why do you have to have a license for everything? You have to have a license to go fishing. You have to have a license to go hunting.
But you can walk in and fucking.
You have to have a license to cut hair for motherfuckers.
You don't have to have one to go vote, though.
No.
I mean,
dude, why?
Who are the people thinking of these ideas?
You want to build an addition onto your house? You got to get a permit and a fucking license. You got to buy a marriage license.
Well, that's for
you got to buy a marriage license.
Yeah.
You can't even marry your, you know what I mean, significant other unless you buy a license.
No, it's like let's get the government involved.
You need to know what you're doing. Dude. You have to take a marriage. You have to take a marriage test. Because if you're gonna get your driver's license, you have to take a driving test. So if you get a marriage license, you have to take a marriage test. So they have to figure out whether or not you're.
Okay, so there comes back to my point though. But
you have to answer questions about your significant other.
Your
and
argument
if you don't
is
get enough, then you fail your marriage test and you don't get married.
Your argument is though, like, fuck, like the government shouldn't be involved at all in so many things, and I agree. Like, but I say, like, fuck the government altogether. Do we really even need it? You know what I mean? Locally, we need somebody to maintain the roads, plow.
Yeah, I mean,
like
you
pay
it,
the local
dude,
taxes.
Need it, and they need to be
hospital.
fucking good, strong people. Because if you don't have a federal government, then that stops the next evil guy from just coming in and fucking taking.
So
over.
then they're gonna make regulations and laws, and they're gonna want money, and they're gonna want to have this, and they're gonna. That's what I'm saying.
But they
if
just
you want that, then that's
but
what
the way
you're gonna
they
get.
spend it, the way they spend it, is fucking.
They don't even.
is bad. They spend it on. They waste it. They don't spend it on things that we need. They spend it on. They use it to make themselves more money, and they steal it.
And the elected officials are the judge.
They just steal all of the money that we give them, and if we don't give it to them, they'll just put us in jail. You get thrown in jail.
It's like embezzlement.
If you don't.
Yeah, I know we get thrown in jail. That's what I say. Fuck the whole government, though. I mean, because as soon as you set up that system, that's what it turns into, no matter what. And that's my argument. Like, no matter what, power's going to corrupt those people.
Absolute power corrupts.
The rich are going to want to control it because they think that they contribute more. So they're going to put more money into it. They're going to put their people in. Their voice is going to be louder than yours.
Well, what's the perfect system?
It's not a perfect system. They're the ones that produce the jobs. I'm not saying it's
not a perfect system, but it's the best one that theoretically that exists.
My argument is less government, almost to the point where the federal government is almost non-existent.
It's supposedly supposed to be a republic, democracy.
That like state, then you should be able to I like the way this state works better. So you're
taking the Ron Paul approach.
I think this state works better, so that's where I'm going to go. And the states are going to compete for pretty much. I mean, that's what the states are going to compete for a better situation for their citizens or the way the citizens want to live. You know, that's pretty much how it is now. But the Fed, I think, has too much control and
audit the Fed.
You know, it's holding us down too much.
Of course, I agree.
And then here's my other point: like, who really would want to hurt everybody? And this is like another thing about the conspiracy.
See, that you're doing it now. You're doing it now. You're saying I would never do this. So why would these people that I don't know ever do this?
Right.
But they would.
Right. That's
you don't
the
know
trouble
their
with conspiracy.
you don't know their intentions.
Don't attach yourselves to people in power. Like, don't project yourself on that person in power.
I just
because
can't
you don't know what they.
that
You don't
they
know
just
them.
like they go and they get in power and they're just like, I want to kill millions of people and run the world and poison them all and make them all be my slaves.
You don't know what it's like to
be. And I want to drink baby's blood. Like,
you don't know what it's like to be a man in a high power position of power.
Yeah, I guess you don't, man.
Because if you get there, that's what just happens.
That's
dude.
like the mental block, I think, that everybody has with it. It's like there's somebody that's really that fucking bad that's just like, I'm gonna eat the innocents,
dude. And that's why people fucking like laugh at people talking about conspiracy theories and shit, dude. And that's why they laugh and shit because they're like, oh, they would never do that. You know what I mean? That you sound so stupid.
They gave black people in Alabama syphilis under the guise of free health care. They shot them up with syphilis to see how it would spread in the rural community untreated.
And you know this because you did the
40
research.
years,
but people don't want to hear conspiracy theories. They don't do any fucking research.
Evil, man.
They don't do no research for themselves. They don't try to figure it out.
Fought against the abolishment of slavery.
And you argue
so hard they started a civil war over
and you argue with their emotions, non-conspiracy theorists.
I'm emotional.
They only argue with their emotions. I'm
emotional. I'm sad about it. I got emotional this week watching.
And that's all I got to say about that.
Watching a protest about that Ilhan Omar. There was this lady, Linda Sarsour, was making a speech, and they didn't show it on the news, but she was having a press conference, and they showed that part on the news, but they didn't show the 3-4 protesters that were there that were from Iran, and they were like, the Sharia law is killing women in Iran. They're sex trafficking. I was raped for 10 years under Sharia law. It's hurting my aunts and my sisters. Like wailing, like crying, like, how can you support Sharia law and radical Islam? You need to denounce it. This talking anti-Semitism is wrong and un-American. It's hurting us. It's hurting us. I'm from Iran. I spent my whole life trying to... And she was like pretty much crying, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? You know, and I was watching it, man, and it like, I got emotional, dude.
Who was saying this? The protester?
The protester. I forget it. She was protesting Linda Sarsour talking, but she was from Iran, and you know, dealt with the radical Sharia
realism
law,
of it.
You know
yeah,
what I mean, it's the sex trafficking and the genital mutilation and the raping and all that stuff. Like, and they're like, You know what I mean? You know, in Congress, before that Ilhan Omar got elected, that in Congress you weren't allowed to have a head covering.
Mm-hmm.
In the U.S., you weren't allowed to wear a hat or have a head covering because that was the proper etiquette that they wrote into the law, and they changed it for her. And now they're changing more, and now they're supporting this way of life that is completely incompatible with
civilization,
Western values. You know what I mean? Like it or not, Western values view us all as equal. Women, men, black, white, gay, straight, trans. We're all the same in the eyes of the law and the eyes of the tax man in America. And Sharia law doesn't align with the IRS's version of what a person is. So
no, because that governs over every aspect of life. Sharia law. That's not just the government.
Oh yeah.
That's like telling you what you can do, who you can worship, everything. Every aspect of life is dictated under that.
And they're like defending this, like wearing a head covering, like they're proud of wearing a hat everywhere they go. Like I wear a hat a lot, but I wouldn't want to have to wear a hat.
Right. I think they're plants. I think they're plants from the fucking. You notice how they didn't come? Nobody was like that until recently. Nobody was in the government like that. There might have been Muslim sort of people.
It's a new phenomenon.
People historically from Muslim countries that were in the government in some level.
Yeah.
But there wasn't ones that were like
maybe
to that
Muslim
degree.
men.
Yeah. There wasn't ones to that degree. So it's like
wearing head coverings.
So it's like I almost feel like it's like a fucking possible infiltration in the government.
Well, there's only like 2.
And we let it happen.
Technically, I think. I could be wrong, but I think it's only the Ilhan Omar and then the other one. I can't remember her name. The Linda Sarsour is just like an activist, the organizer of these people, but she also wears the head covering and advocates for. I mean, I advocate for everybody, and here's the bottom line: of course, you have to love everybody. Of course, you can't reject Muslims, like if that's what they feel. Like, yo, if that's what you think and that's what you practice behind your closed doors, fine. But you better not beat your wife and you better not kill your kid if they end up being gay. Right. If you feel like they're not going to go to heaven about it, then fine. Feel like that. But you can't touch them and you can't do nothing about it. And I guess when the line will be crossed when they're like, oh, well, he killed her because of his religion, that's okay. And I don't think that'll happen.
That doesn't make it right.
But that's where we end up. I don't know. Accept them, though. This is America. Do what you want.
But don't force it on people.
Yeah, and guess what? This is America, so I get to make fun of you, too. Because free speech, sucker.
I'm taking more of that away.
So, guess what? Free speech equals we get to say funny shit to each other.
They take away more and more and more of it.
All right.
It's like Google censoring stuff.
Yeah.
And so with that, now you're telling me that
you're not on mic, but that's okay.
Google is responsible for its content. Therefore, why is it allowed?
It's a publisher.
Yeah, it's a publisher.
You have to pay different taxes as a publisher.
So,
and you fall under different regulations.
Right. So why is it allowed publishing content?
Well, you know why, right? I mean, it's a simple response. Ready? They spend a lot of money on lobbying the government.
Which should be super.
So they lobby and they pay for political campaigns, blah, 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 blah. So when XYZ gets in there, they go, yo, I'm going to email you the proposal that you should write and how you should write it and how you should word it and how it pertains to us. And thanks a lot. And they go, oh, great, thanks. See you later. And then they go into the Senate and they're like, yeah, we should do this and that and this and that. And yeah, it's all good. They're not publishers, right? Just like anything, bro. And it's scary as hell.
That's how they do it.
Oh, well. Don't be scared. Everybody love everybody. Check you later.